Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. This is lecture 1 in basic computer skills. We are going to start this lecture by defining what is a computer. A computer is an electronic device that manipulates information or data. So it is a device has this capability, manipulation of information or data. Also we can say processing information or data. Any computer device has the ability to store or save, retrieve or opening and processing data. You can use a computer to do many things. For example, we can use our computers to type documents, send emails, play games, browse the web for searching for any information, editing or creating presentation, spreadsheets in Excel, and editing videos. Okay, what are the types of computers? In this lecture we are going to focus on 4 types of computers: desktop computers, laptop computers, tablet computers, and servers. Let us start with the first one, the desktop computers. Actually, the desktop computers used in many places. We can find it at work, at home, and even schools or colleges. Why it is called a desktop? Because it is designed to be placed on a disk, on top of a disk. Desktop computer made up of few different parts, including the computer case, which is this box, the monitor, the keyboard, and the mouse. Let us move to the second type, which is the laptop computer. The laptop computer, or sometimes we call it laptop, it is a little bit different from desktop, such as it is a battery powered device. What does it mean? We can run it with a battery without connecting it to the power. Also, laptop computers are more portable than desktops because it is not that heavy, so it is light, so you can carry it with you from one place to another. You can use it almost anywhere. The tablet computer is the third type, and we call it tablets. Tablets are handheld computers, that you mean you can carry it in your hand, and because of that it is more portable than laptops and of course desktops. So in laptops we have no keyboard or mouse. Instead of that, tablets use a touch sensitive screen for typing and navigation. So you can use your finger to click on the screen or to move or to drag something from one place to another place. A good example of tablet computer is iPad. Now let us talk about the fourth type of computers, the servers. A server is a computer that serves up information to other computer on a network. And let us focus on this word, network. So a server is not a personal computer. We need it when we have a network. You know that in a computer network, many computers connected together. So when they are connected together, a server is needed, because the server will connect all of these together. It works like a central computer. Also, whenever you use the internet, you are looking at something that is stored on a server. Yes, when you open any website, okay, that website that you are seeing on the screen, it is not stored on your computer. It is stored on a server, and that server is located somewhere in the world. Another example of using a server is in businesses or in institutions or in companies. So they use local file server. They use it to store and share files internally within the business or within the organization. Now let us talk about the parts of a desktop computer. Okay, as we can see on this slide, the basic parts of a desktop computer are the computer case, the monitor, the keyboard, and the mouse. Also, we can consider the power cord as one of the basic parts of a desktop computer. Each part plays an important role whenever you use a computer. Okay, so now let us talk about these parts in details. The first one is the computer case. Inside the case, there are many components. So it contains the main components of the computer, including the motherboard, the central processing unit, or we call it CPU, and also the power supply. So all of these three components are located inside the computer case. Okay, we know that the motherboard is the main circuit board. All of other components are either connected to it or it is fixed to it. And the central processing unit, we call it the brain of the computer, because all of the thinking or decision is taken within the CPU. Sometimes we call it the processor. Okay, the power supply also is an important part inside the computer case, because the power supply will transfer the voltage from high level to a proper level, so other component will not be burned out. Also in the computer case, on the front side, we can see the on-off button and one or more optical drives used for running optical disc like CD or a DVD. Okay, the second part of desktop computer is the monitor. Actually, the monitor works with a video card. The video card is another component inside the computer case. It is located inside the computer case. So the monitor works with the video card to display images and text on the screen. We have two types of monitors, the LCD and the LED. LCD stands for liquid crystal display, and LED, light emitting diode. Both of them, they are very thin and they are often called flat panel display, even if they are similar, but there is a difference on the technology behind them, because this one uses the liquid crystal to display the images and the documents, and the LED use the light emitting diode to do that. The third part is the keyboard, and the keyboard is one of the main ways to communicate with the computer. We use it for sending instructions to the computer. Also, we use it for inputting data. And the fourth part is the mouse. The mouse is similar to the desktop because it is also a tool for communicating with computers. Commonly, it is known as a pointing device Why? Because it lets you to point to an object on the screen, click on them and move them. So when you just click on the left button, so you are like sending an instruction to the computer. Okay, after explaining the parts of a desktop computer, now let us talk about the buttons and ports on a desktop computer. On the front side of the computer case, we can see the optical disk drive here. Sometimes we call it CD-ROM or DVD-ROM. Okay, using this drive, we can run a CD or a DVD here. Another thing that we can see it on the front of the screen is the power button. The power button, as you know, is used to power the computer on and off. Also, on the front side of the computer case, we can see the audio in, audio out port. We know that we use those kind of ports for connecting speakers, microphones, and headsets. Okay, of course, sometimes we find the audio in, audio out port on the back of the computer case. Another port can be found on the front of a computer case is the USB port, stand for Universal Serial Bus. Nowadays, USB ports can be used to connect many devices like mice, keyboards, printers, and digital camera. Okay, so we can find them on the front and on the back of the computer case. If we move to the back of the computer case, also we can on the top here find the power socket. Here we can connect the power cord to the computer, and in this area the power supply is located. Another important port on the back of the computer case is the Ethernet port. Of course, Ethernet port is used for networking. So if we like to connect a computer to a network, we need to connect it through this port. Sometimes also we use it to connect to the internet. Another port is the monitor port. This is where you connect your monitor cable, and sometimes we use it also for connecting external projector. A serial port is less common on today's computer. It was frequently used to connect peripherals like digital cameras, but it has been replaced by USB and other types of ports. So in new computer there is no serial port currently. Also, another one which is also less common port is the parallel port. Again, in new computer it is replaced by USB port. Okay, the USB port can connect up to 127 different peripherals together with a single connector. So this is a feature of the USB port. Examples of devices can be connected using a USB port is the mouse, the printer, the digital camera, the scanner, and speakers, and so on. Of course, there are types of USB like Type A, Type B, and Type C. Another similar port to USB called Firewire port. Yes, it is similar to USB, but it transfers large amount of data at very fast speed. Also, it can connect multiple types of devices. It allows you to connect up to 63 devices together. The three latest types of Firewire is Firewire 800, Firewire 1600, and Firewire 3200. Of course, the 3200 is the fastest in transferring data. Now let us differentiate between a port and a connector. A port is the point at which a peripheral attaches to or communicate with a system unit. And as we already seen that there are many types of ports, like the USB port, like the Ethernet port. So where you connect the cable is the port. So now what is the connector? The connector joins a cable to a port. Okay, so this is the connector. So a connector at one end of a cable attaches to a port on the system unit. So we can connect the connector here on the port, and on the other side it is attached to a port on the peripheral. Okay, so the port is the place where we can fix the connector. Now let us understand what does central processing unit means. So it is this processor, or we call it CPU. The main function of it is to execute the instruction in the programs. We know that using any programs we can do so many things. Okay, so those tasks to be done, there are some instruction needs to be executed. So the component which is responsible for this is the CPU. Of course, the CPU works together with the RAM. We're going to talk about the RAM on the next slide. The processor or the CPU contains two units, the control unit and the arithmetic logic unit. The first one is the component of the processor that directs and coordinates most of the operation in the computer. So the main function of the control unit is the direction and coordination. However, the arithmetic logic unit performs the arithmetic, the comparison, and other operation. Okay, the RAM, the random access memory, call it RAM, it is the main memory inside the computer. It consists of memory chips. Those black color pieces are the memory chips that can be read from and written to by the processor and other devices. I already mentioned that the processor and the RAM work together. So the processor will write on those memory chips, and also it reads from. The RAM called the temporary memory. Why? Because it holds the current running program and its associated data. Okay, so any program we open, it will be moved to the RAM, and it will be there until you decide to close that program or until you decide to close that file. However, if you switch off your computer, the RAM will become empty. Nothing will remain stored on it. On the other side, the ROM, or the read-only memory, is a permanent memory. Why? Because the contents stored in ROM are not lost when power is moved from the computer. So it is different from the RAM. The RAM will lose its content when the power moved from the computer. However, the ROM will not lose its content when the power is moved from the computer. Okay, the last thing to talk about it in this lecture is the storage devices. Okay, these are some example of storage devices. The first one is the hard disk, and the hard disk stores the operating system, program files, and data inside any computer device. And sometimes we have external hard disk, so we can also connect it as peripheral to a computer. The second storage device is the optical storage devices. Those optical storage devices store or save data as pattern of dots that can be read using laser light. So this is why it is called optical, because it uses laser light to read and write from those disks. Examples of optical storage devices is the CD, DVD, and Blu-ray. A third example of storage devices is the USB flash drive. They are small sticky devices, use a USB port. They can store gigabytes of information, are an easy way to transfer information from one device to another. And the last example in this slide is the network drive. So it is a folder located on another computer which is connected to the network. If you remember when we talk about the server, so you can use, for example, a server to store your files. So you have an account, and because you have an account, for example, in this network, so you can use the server to store your files and data in it. So this is what we call it, the network drive. So it is not inside your computer, but it is on another computer, which is the server. Okay, so this is the last slide of this lecture, and here are some revision questions just to check your understanding, just by filling in blanks by selecting the words from this book. Thank you for listening, and good luck.